So we're in chapter 14, it's all about quadratics, and you know quadratics to be stuff like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. 0. Okay, you've solved them before. I don't know, way back in chapter, seems like it was like 8. 8 you solved them. We used them in 9 a little bit, and we factored and did some things. But so the first day we showed you square root property, and today we're going to show you completing the square. Now, when we talk about completing the square, what we're talking about, like a perfect square trinomial, you know, like something like this: x squared plus 6x plus 9. That's a perfect square trinomial because it factors into x plus 3 squared. And you can, you know, do your backwards x plus 3, x plus 3. If you can visualize this, you know, x squared plus 3x plus another 3x. Remember that middle term's doubled. The last term is this squared. 3 times 3 is 9. So we eventually get back up to this. So what we're doing here is we're trying to find out what this is. And they give us the first term and they give us the middle term. Well, I can tell you this last term right here is half of the middle term, okay, squared. So what's half of 12? Half of 12 is 6. So that'd be, and even if we're negative or a positive, it's a positive 6. Positive 6 times positive 6. This is plus 36. Now, down here, this is half that middle term goes right in here. This is it factored. This is it completed the square. So look over here. This one right here is a little different. What's half of 5? Well, half of 5 is negative. Half of negative 5 is negative 5 halves. That squared is positive, because negative times negative, 25 fourths. And so you look and go, oh, geez, that's crappy, but it doesn't matter. That's fine. It can have a funky little fraction. So this is completing the square, and if we wanted to factor it, this would be y minus 5 halves squared. There it is factored. So let's look at what we're going to do with these. So here's what it'll say. Say solve by completing the square. First thing you need to know is these two terms have to be by themselves on one side. So we're going to put them on this side, x squared minus 2x. And we're going to get rid of this, so we're going to add 15 to both sides. So leave this space right here, equals 15. All right. So now we got to complete this square. All right. So, oops, I don't want to do that yet. So to complete this square, we take half of this middle term. Half of 2 is 1, a negative 1. Negative 1 times itself is a positive 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. So we added 1 to this side. We have to also add 1 to this side to balance the equation. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 16. Now you got to factor. Next step is factoring. So we're going to factor this into x minus 1, the quantity squared, equals 16. Now you're actually to the square root property. So we're going to take, I'm going to change my pen color here. We're going to take the square root of both sides. So on the left-hand side, you get an x minus 1. Remember, square, and square root sign cancel each other out. On the right-hand side, learning what we knew from yesterday, we get a plus and minus 4. So now we got to solve for x. Going to add 1 to both sides. Plus 1. So we got x equals 1 plus or minus 4. Well, here's what x equals. 1 plus 4, that's 5. 1 minus 4, that's negative 3. There's your two answers right there, 5 and negative 3. That's what x is. Let's look at another one. Okay, so this one, you got some problems. Okay. First of all, we got a number right here by the c squared. Next thing is, we got this c term over here. We want the c term over there. So we got to have, this is 3 squared minus 4c equals 1. Now there's more problems. We want to have this be 1. So what we're going to have to do is divide each of these by 3. So we're going to get c squared minus 4/3 c equals 1/3. Now this is going to be kind of a hairy situation here, but I want you to think over here. Okay, what's half of negative 4/3? Well, if you take half of any fraction, you actually just are doubling the denominator. So that'd be a negative 4/6, which is actually a negative 2/3. Now, square it, because that's what goes in this last term. So negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 is a positive 4/9. So we're going to have a positive 4/9 here. That means we're going to have a positive 4/9 here also. Okay, so now, again, I've said it was going to be hairy. It's going to be hairy. We have to factor this. Remember, this is c. The sign is right here. This sign is the same as this sign. So it's minus. Okay, remember what goes in here? It's half of this middle term right here. That'd be 4/6. Remember we figured it up here? 4/6, which is negative 2/3. So that's a negative 2/3. Equals, okay, so up here we got to add this together. That's 3/9 and 4/9. That's 7/9. All right, we're going to take the root of both sides. Root of this side. Root of this side. So over here I get c minus 2/3 equals plus or minus the root of 7/9. Let's put it like this. The root of 7 over the root of 9, because you're going to see something happen. Oh, okay, so that's c minus 2/3 equals plus or minus the root of 7. Oops. Thinking ahead here. The root of 7 over 3, right? Because this 9 came out as a 3. Lots of stuff to remember. Okay, so let's kind of come up here. I'm going to add 2/3 to both sides. So I'm going to get c equals positive 2/3 plus or minus the root of 7 over 3. So I can put these together. I'm going to get, since they're the same denominator, 2 plus or minus the root of 7 over 3. Easy as easy. Actually, it's not easy. Quite difficult. But once we do some practice problems, you'll be experts in no time.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.